Hey everyone, welcome back to BrowncoatNerd. Today we're going to be taking yet another look at the LOK Grips. This time a set for my surplus Beretta 92S. Now if you've watched some of my videos, you know I've already done two other reviews on these grips. I've got a set for my surplus Beretta 85F, as well as an awesome set for my Spanish Star BM. So, one of the things that I love about LOK Grips, they offer a lot of grips for different popular surplus handguns that are available on the market. So they pay attention to what's out there. For example, like the Star BM. Now, typically for surplus guns, you are going to find your wooden grips, like on eBay and Amazon and stuff. And sometimes you can get some really nice wooden grips. We'll go over that here in just a second. But at the end, you're not really adding any usefulness to the grips. That's one of the things I really love about this G10 material, and LOK Grips does a really good job of applying an aggressive texture. Now, for most models of guns, you're going to have a few options on what kind of grips you're going to get with different grip texture. One of the nice things about this 92, since it's a Beretta 92, they have a ton of options to choose from, so that is very nice. Now, this particular one here, we are looking at the full Checkered. This is their standard grip panel, so it's not designed to have a palm swell or to be any thinner than the original grips, and it's in the full checkering. The color combo we have here is what they call their camo, and that is layered green, black, and what I would call a tan, but I believe actually if you look at the colors that they offer, this tan color is what they call their brown. But you just get that in a repeated design, and that gives you your camo color. Now I saw this color option on some grips that were thinned out, so it gives it kind of much more of the laminate wood color, and I absolutely love the way it ended up looking. Now I knew getting the standard grips is going to be a little more of a pattern like this, almost like a snake skin pattern. Not necessarily what I was going for, but at the same time, I'm still very happy with it, even though I think if you got some of the ones where the overall, height of the grip is going to be changing, you're going to get a much cooler pattern out of that. But either way, I am still very happy with it. These grips, as of filming this video for the standard full Checkered, do run $65, and you have a variety of color options on that. You're not just stuck with this camo pattern if you don't like it. And then if you have the 92S, which obviously we have here in front of us, you are going to need to pay an additional $5 for the magazine heel cut. Now that's the other awesome thing about LOK Grips, is these grips are specifically for the 92S. So we're not going to end up with a little cutout here where the magazine release button is on the newer Beretta 92s, and we only have the cutout down here. Now if you don't like how that's fully enclosed, do not worry, you do have options. You can either get it fully enclosed or get it completely open like this, like on the original grips. Now the reason I got it fully enclosed, to me it was kind of nice and reminiscent of the, where is it? Oh, it's right up here. Beretta M1951 with the mag release down there. And frankly, I was just really curious how having one fully enclosed is going to turn out and how it would feel when using it. So that is the one downside of this fully enclosed magazine release button. And also everything out on here has been safety checked. Sorry, I'm sure my mic is now dropping out because there's loud clicking. But to make YouTube happy, I want to ensure them that I am handling my firearms in a smart and safe manner. So, now that we got that out of the way. The first take, every single gun was loaded. There's rounds flying everywhere. I'm just joking. I'm just kidding. So that is the one downside, is this fully enclosed mag release button. So if I just push on it a little bit, see there, I just pushed on it just a little bit more and it did pop out. But just a little bit, it doesn't quite pop out. And I've got kind of smaller hands, so my fingers aren't super saucy-age. But I kind of got to give it a forceful push to open that catch up. So if you have really large sausage fingers, that might be an issue for you. And also for me using the gun, I'm never going to be doing a mag exchange, in a competition or under fear of my life. This is not an EDC of mine. It's not something I use in competition. This particular 92S for me is just something I take to the range and have fun with. So having a mag release button that's a little bit more of a chore to get to, not a big deal to me, because once again, like I said, having it fully enclosed, aesthetically, to me, I think is really nice. And like I said, it's not a huge issue for me in how I use this gun. So I am okay with it. Now, one thing I think, Beretta, excuse me, one thing I think LOK Grips could do to improve this is you can see it's kind of, that opening there is kind of opened up. If they just kind of made that little crater there just a little bit bigger, I mean, not much, I think just a little bit would go a long ways in making that button a little bit easier to hit. And at the same time, that button's just kind of doing its job. That's kind of one of the carryovers that Beretta used for a long time. A lot of European countries were just really concerned that having the mag release up here or something that was easily pushable would result in accidental discharge of magazines. So definitely not going to have that with this one. Not that I don't think it was ever really an issue to begin with. But anyhow, there you go. So that is definitely something to be mindful of. And like I said, they carry this in a lot of different color patterns. Now this texturing is very nice, very fine, and very grippy. Now the bogeys I got on my BM, it's not really like a checkered, it's like almost like a coarse golf ball texturing. And I feel like these are probably a little bit grippier. You can get this bogey pattern on the Beretta 92S if you want. But I kind of wanted to go a little more traditional. So I just went with the checkering. And this is still plenty aggressive enough. And like I said, this is the standard grip. They do have ones that are supposed to be thinner. They've got some with palm swells. Some of them even have like a little thumb rest option you can add on there as well. So quite a few options. Now, you guys might remember back when I did my original review on the Beretta 92S, I actually used to have two of these. One of them I was going to keep original. The other one had already gone through a military refurbish, which is this one right here. So I decided, what the heck, I was going to have a little fun and kind of change out and modify what I could on these older 92S models. I've been completely dragging my feet because that was years ago. I have been doing a few little things to this. Eventually I'll come out with a video diving deeper into that. Also, I plan on doing a few more things. But in that process, these original grips from the 92S, not the greatest. This material is very easily scratchable. Texturing, well, it's not bad. It's more aggressive than the factory grips on my BM. It's still not the best. And some of them do have a full checkering that go all the way up to. This was just some of the earlier grip designs that do not. I also kind of forgot how bad and scuffed up these grips were. But that's one of the things I wanted to change out with this gun, since this was going to be one I was going to be having fun with. Originally, I had purchased a pair of wood grips from Gatewood Supply, I believe. And those are pretty popular grips for the 92S. I see a lot of those out there. Very aggressive checkering. They're made of wood, really nice cuts of wood. They have really nice grain texture in them, but they are thick. They are very, very thick. And so I actually ended up giving those grips as extras along to a good friend of mine that I had sold the Beretta 92S that I was going to keep original. So I eventually changed those wood grips out just because they're too freaking thick. And like I said, I've got kind of small hands. So I did get some of these wood grips. And these style of grips are pretty popular for you to come across on eBay. They typically come out of Turkey. And when I ordered these, I saw a lot of people talking about how they're really great quality, but to be warned, they have a very long turnaround time. And they do. I actually thought I got ripped off and then just kind of was like, oh, I'll give them more time, and waited a little bit longer. I think it was like 6 months from placing my order to getting them. And like I said, this was years ago. This was like 2017, so before the world got crazy. So these have been pretty good grips. I did have to kind of sand out a little bit in some of these screw holes here, not a huge deal. They look absolutely beautiful. They're very nice and very thin. But the downside, and they do have texturing on there, but it's not aggressive at all. And while I was wanting to modify this gun, I want to also kind of maybe dress it up a little bit, but also have it be practical and gain, advantages over that. These grips are smoother than the originals. And while I absolutely love the look of these and the craftsmanship's good, they arrived to me completely free of dings. I think I've gotten these dinged up a little bit over the years. But I just decided that these were not going to cut it. And so I went for the LOK Grips. Now, since I do have these 3 grip options in my hands, I can give you a few dimensions on these. So the original grips weighed 1 ounce, and the average thickness that I used the cheapest digital calipers I could find on Amazon to measure, the thickness measured approximately right around 35.5 millimeters, and those are the original grips. Now the wood Turkish eBay special grips here, which once again I'm very happy with, they weren't super cheap. They're between $60 and $80. I can't remember. And worth the wait. They're nice grips, but just not real world useful. Those were the lightest grips, coming in at 0.8 ounces, so just a little bit lighter than the originals. And then these wood grips were actually also the thinnest grip, averaging right around 34.2 millimeters in the thickness. And then the LOK grips, no surprise, being made out of G10, were the heaviest grips. Those came in at 1.8 ounces. And the overall thickness is right around these old 92S original grips, just a little bit thicker. It kind of fluctuated between 35.6 millimeters thick to 35.9 millimeters. So once again, these originals were 35.5. So just a hair thicker than these original ones. Obviously, I had these wood grips on there when I put the G10 grips on there. And going between the thinnest grips, the wood ones, and the thickest, the G10 ones, I really couldn't tell a difference. Like I said, it's very minimal. But it is there, so might as well notate it for you guys. Like I said, these grips feel great in the hands. I really like it. Now, I do understand this camo pattern is probably going to be a love it or hate it. After having these in my hands, I like the grips, but I think I did goof and I should have gotten the thin grips. Once again, like I said, like 5 times in this video, I've got kind of small hands. So after doing that, I really am kicking myself in the butt, because it's going to be something. These are nice grips. I could live with them, but I know there's better grips out there. Once again, LOK grips, just the different design. So eventually I will be changing these out to the thin cut, which is essentially this pattern here. I probably will still keep the enclosed mag release. I might go for the open cut. I'm kind of undecided on that. Like I said, for me, with what I use it, it's just fine. I really like the looks of it. But yeah, my dainty little hands, even if the thin ones are just a little bit thinner, I feel like that's really going to pay off, and I'm really going to notice that. Also, like I said, I love this camo pattern here. It's going to look even better with the thin grips because it'll get kind of more of that laminate wood look. No complaints on the grips. There's really no issues with these. No fitting required. Which with any grips, expect minor sanding, but these just popped right on. The one downside, and it's not anything on LOK grips, because whenever you order these grips, they're all going to look a little different with the way this material is layered together. As you can see, like right here, it is just getting at the very bottom of the black layer, almost showing through to that tan or brown layer. On this side, it went just a little bit deeper. But these are 2 separate pieces. So I'm not saying this is poor craftsmanship on LOK. That's just the nature of this material. Every set's a little bit different. And that right there, I mean, I can live with that. It would look cooler, obviously, if they were both blacked out, which I think I would prefer blacked out compared to the tan color, but whatever, not a big deal. That's literally the only thing I can find, and like I said, it's not really a complaint against LOK. And you can get to this slide lock very easy. The original grips you could too. I think that's one thing I kicked myself in the butt for not mentioning on the review for the Beretta. These original grips, you could get to the slide lock easily, but with the LOK grips, it is so much easier to get to that because it cuts in quite a bit more than the original grips. And that will be kind of curious to see if the thin cut grips on these will have that same effect. Like I said, you know, I can get to it just fine, but I guess there is some material there you could remove. But yeah, overall, guys, again, another huge win from LOK Grips. Ever since I got the first set for my Beretta, I've literally been going through my gun collection, kind of seeing what I could change out grips on and what they, you know, compared to what they offer. Another thing that I do want to mention before the very end here, I kind of feel bad I didn't mention this sooner, but complete full disclosure with you all. These particular grips were sent to me by LOK for T&E. I'm not paid by them or anything. They really gave me no criteria I needed to follow for these videos. They're just kind of like, you know, if you have an issue, let us know before you just put out a video. Give us a chance to fix it or look into it, see what that issue is. And with the 3 sets I have purchased, I've had exactly 0 issues, and I love them all. And sometimes the hardest part is kind of deciding which color pattern you're going to go with. Because I keep looking at them and be like, oh man, what would it look like if I had this color on there? But I'm not trying to switch around my grips. This one, I think I definitely will change out. I like these so much, but I know I could like them just a little bit more. So why not? I think that's going to be the route I'm going to have to go with. So, all right, that is it, guys. That's all I got for you. Once again, do check me out on Instagram. I've started the whole Instagram thing. Give me a follow over there. I've got a backup of all my videos on Rumble in case anything crazy happens over here on YouTube. And both my Instagram and Rumble subscribers and followers do typically get a few early access shots of some things that are going on. So, woo, yeah, early access. All right, so that is it, guys. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please consider liking and subscribing. And of course, as always, stay safe and stay shiny.